Good morning and welcome to Saturday's special edition. We often call our age an age of knowledge. We call it an age of technology where every day we are surprised by technological developments. But is it really an age of knowledge? Is it an age of innovation? If we study and analyze the facts, we'll find that this age is not the age of innovation, it's an age of copying, upgrading, but not of innovation. Leaving one sector aside, the sector of artificial intelligence, there is practically no innovation at all. Big ideas are getting harder to come by, and innovations have become increasingly massive and costly endeavors. You must be considering why this contradiction. You see, over the last few decades, Western world has an increasingly specialized workforce, where the people are trained in narrow skills for increasingly narrow positions. And when the position is narrow, the job is narrow, you become less innovative. Less innovative in technologies, less innovative in products, less innovative in ideas. You are more in the business of tinkering. And that is why today, to sustain everyday's low growth of economic growth, we tinker with the technology. So it's an age of tinkerers. Just imagine, Steve Jobs is supposed to be the top league of inventors. But do all the inventions of Steve Jobs and his ilk, can they be compared to one invention of Thomas Edison, the light bulb? That was an epoch-making invention that changed the very culture of the civilization. You know, in the last century, there has been a decrease in the number of patents. Are you amazed at that? And the increased number of patents in new technologies, but they are more in the processes. So nothing new. And the data indicates that the facts are the same, identical for everybody. Imagine the Nobel Prize. An analysis of the Nobel Prize winner shows that average age of winner has increased by 5 to 6 years per century. Now, when this age increases, you'll be asking me why I'm bringing it out. It is because innovation is always a contribution by the young people. And our education system has added years to the knowledge. You know, specialization of workforce is driven by a system which I call academic inflation, where certain jobs used to require only a high school certificate now require a bachelor's, a master's, or a PhD degrees. So, people spend more time in the academic field and they less time with the thought process. They are more concerned with getting the degrees. And this has increasingly negative effect on the inventive capacity. I was talking of the decrease in the patents of the new technologies. Of experts working in-house has increased. Every small company even has an in-house R&D, which is always involved in the tinkering process. And that results in you become static. And that is why the Nobel Prize winner's age has increased over the years. Einstein, for example, was most productive in his 20s. Over the last century, only 7% of the prize winners are in their 20s. Only 7%. And medically, and it has been proved that after the age of 30, the brain starts declining, the process of working. This is decrease in breakthrough because we have seen more in-house experts, and they turned away from inventing new things. Edison wasn't employed by anybody. Einstein wasn't employed by anybody. These people were on their own, whether in adverse conditions or in positive conditions. Madame Curie, same thing. She was employed but given a free hand. She was not in-house. So key to the thinking broadly is there's something lost when the people cooperate. Now, can you imagine? You want to write a novel and you make a group of people to write a novel. They will never be able to write a novel. They might write jumble of words, which might come out to be true. As somebody said, that if you put a train 1,000 monkeys to work on a PC, it's quite possible that the result may result in a Nobel Prize winning novel, but mostly it will be nonsense. So that's what exactly is happening. The focus on experts is killing the advent of ideas and innovation. We always want to hire specialists, and that is the undoing. A generalist always does better. And that is why when the British started the system of civil service, they always had a generalist in mind because he brings freshness of approach. A business is always concerned with lateral thinking. An invention is always the result of lateral thinking. You have to challenge the people, and yet you cannot do with in-house expertise and certification. Merit-based ideal has been lost. Certificate and degree ideal is the order of the day. Have you ever thought, and have you ever seen that the people who have shifted their careers, they perform much better? A specialized workforce need to be reconsidered because too much of it results in reduced inventive capacity. If you want the economy to be innovative, creative and diverse, then too much of education in the workforce, too much of specialization is something that you have got to live by. You see, breakthrough comes in any new area or in the old area when someone can combine various areas together. And that is why when people ask me about expertise, I say no. I prefer to be in the line of Aristotle, Chanakya, Leonardo da Vinci and others. Because those were the people. Now imagine it. When Da Vinci thought of helicopter, he was a painter. Aristotle, master of politics, master of strategy, master of economics, master of art of criticism, poetry, and so on. Chanakya, there is no area in which he has not indulged in. So you have got to give people an attitude of thinking not only out of the box, but what I normally call a helicopter view. Until and unless you have capacity to combine general ideas you are able to synthesize all the relevant information in a single mind, you cannot come with the new ideas and you cannot be innovative. Hiring experts, actually, I would like to say that is the experts who have killed innovation. After being experts, after having dedicated so many years to a single line of thought, they are incapable, absolutely incapable, even appreciating those ideas and those concepts which run counter to their thought. And they are the biggest stumbling blocks. It's not something in authority. It's not something in anarchy who is stopping them from thinking innovatively. It is their own brain which makes them reject fresh ideas. You keep a man imprisoned in a dark cell for a long time, and when he comes out, he won't be able to see properly. His eyes would not open in the bright daylight for the simple reason that his sense of sight has been atrophied. It has become practically useless. Now, when you are using a certain portion of a brain, a certain part of the brain, for a specific study, for years and years together, the other areas of the brain have become molded. And being full of mold, they are incapable of fresh ideas. We talk very loudly of iPhones, but is iPhone a breakthrough? No. Imagine, compare iPhone with a light bulb. iPhones are simply recombinations of existing tools to create something new. Light bulb was revolutionary in creating several new industries. And that is what innovation is. You see, the ideal thing is to put journalists on innovative teams. Let them mix with the specialized experts, but give them the power to think separately. Breakthroughs would arise when someone can combine many ideas, but not thinking in a box. It's not PhDs that you need. It's not DSs that you need. It is creativity that you need, and creativity comes young. I remember way back, my son was, I think, an 8th grade student, and we went to Goa on a holiday trip. The boy's maternal uncle was a professor in the college at Farmagudi, and they were going to do something with the boiler. They had to move something. And they had spent about a week, and one day my son accompanied his uncle. And fresh as he was, young as he was, he gave an idea to his uncle. And then they implemented the idea, and the idea was successful. This young boy could look at it with a freshness rather than with the expertise. And that gave birth to a new idea to them. It's not something great. It can happen every day, and it does happen every day. In your family life, you'll see you might have a lot of problems, and your child can come up with a solution to your problem which you can't even imagine. The academic inflation has got to be stopped. It has got to be stopped if you want to stop the rot in the thinking process. Secondly, too much of specialization has to stop. Thirdly, people have to be given freedom to think and not be forced to think in the way they don't want to, or rather they are coerced to. The system should move now to the new merit-based ideal and away from focusing on expertise and certification. So, if you want to have increased inventive capacity, if you want to have breakthrough technologies, you need to create breakthrough thinkers who have a capacity to understand not one sector, not one field, but a variety of fields at the same time. Those who have a capacity to synthesize other things, other lives, and that would be better. Do you know, for example, I was reading Richard Nickel-Blown, and he is at the Stanford Institute of Economic Policy, and he said that the game-changing inventions have appeared since World War II. They're game-changing, but nothing new has come up. All the fighters, they are upgrading them, as I said, but nothing new is there. So specifically the people, talk to America, for example, has jumped more than 20-fold since 1930. The number is great, but look at the collective productivity. It has decreased by a factor of 41. So if you want to increase your productivity at present, you have to increase the time by 41 times. The US productivity level are an indicator of the global level. Basically, we are replaying Moore's law. Moore's law was that the computing chip today is remarkable compared to a decade ago. But the research effort put behind the chip innovative rose by a factor of 78 times. That means what was happening before 1970s now would take 78 times longer to do that. So the productivity in agriculture also, your productivity is increasing, but sustainability is not there. Go to any field and you will find innovation missing. Tinkering, progressing is there. Upscaling is there. Development is there. But innovation, no, it's not there. And the innovation has been killed by the experts themselves. We need journalists. We need creative thinkers, and not people who have a tunnel vision. Thank you.